Live from 627 Event Space, this is Hornet Talk, your weekly look inside Emporia State Athletics. Hornet Talk is brought to you by 627 Event Space, Black Creek Diesel and Automotive, Emporia State Federal Credit Union, Newman Regional Health, Shelter Insurance Agents Kelly Medrano and Dave Watts, and by Sports Connection. Here's the voice of the Emporia State Hornets, Blake Cripps.
The Emporia State football team scored on 4 of their first 5 drives to begin the game and never trailed on the way to a 27-7 victory in Week 0's season and home opener last Thursday against Minot State. Now ESU is primed for its longest road trip of the season as they head south to take on the number 13 Angelo State Rams. The Rams are 1-0 after an impressive 28-7 victory on the road at Fort Hays State. And with that, we welcome you into the brand new Hornet Talk here at 627 Event Space, 627 Commercial here in downtown Emporia. The Hornets are now 15-3 in season openers with Garen Higgins as the head coach, and their 7th in a row. The Hornets rolled to a 24-0 halftime lead and didn't give up a Beaver touchdown until the fourth quarter. Coach Higgins is so used to being on for the first segment. I'm just going to let you do this first segment with me, Coach, and then come back on. But please give it up for Garen Higgins with another season-opening victory for Emporia State. Garen Higgins, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, what a great start for the season that was for you guys last Thursday.
Yeah, it was we didn't know, or I didn't know really kind of how we would come out in that first game. I thought that it would be a good test for us because the type of offense that they ran. Were we more talented than them? Yes, of course. I think you could tell that. But just having, with so many new guys and having a young group, an inexperienced group, I was very pleased with how we started the game. You know, we started off right off the bat with a 14-play drive. Thought Ben came out and for his first game, playing meaningful minutes. I thought he did an outstanding job. And then I thought defensively we controlled the game for all 4 quarters. I thought we played really consistent defensively the whole game. You know, offensively we didn't play as consistent as we needed to. I think our experience showed a little bit offensively there in the second half. Took us a while to kind of get going. But we were in control of the game, and we were in control of the game because how well our defense was playing.
Well, I have a segment here. We're going to call it Today's Specials, and they're brought to you by 627 Event Space. So I'll just kind of play these, and you can comment on them as you want. We'll come back after the break and talk more about the game. But today's special is brought to you by 627 Event Space. Stop by tonight. They're open until 9, just like they are every day. Yes, it's Labor Day. Yes, they are still open until 9. On special every Monday, a $5 small chicken finger basket here at 627 Event Space. Do want to remind you as well that we are streaming on the ESU Athletics YouTube channel. The Hornets got the opening kick, took it right down the field, 13 plays and 75 yards to score on this pass from Ben Harris to Kingsley Bennett. And it was the first touchdown for Harris as a Hornet. Minot State moving around with 3 down linemen. They show 4 at the front now. It's a blitz. Wide open. Touchdown Emporia State. Kingsley Bennett on the post from the far side. The Beavers lost him. And Ben Harris engineers a beautiful drive to open up the season. He completes 8 of 9 on the drive, and Kingsley Bennett's into the end zone for a touchdown. 7-0 following the Caden Dodson kick. Then the Hornets march down again. 16 plays, 71 yards, another kick to make it 10-0. Then it was Diego Carnes on a jump from 23 yards out to continue to add to the Hornet total. Here's Kearns again. Kearns breaks another tackle. It's on the 10, the 5. Touchdown Emporia State. Diego Kearns, 23 yards, breaking tackles along the way, and the Hornets have added to their lead at 16-0. So Diego Kearns there on that 23-yard run, and that was set up on a Mason Ford punt return of 25 yards. So at this point, you've made a pretty big team in special teams with the Ford return. I mean, you know, the one throwaway, the incompletion for Harris was an intentional throwaway, just threw it right at the feet of his receiver when the pocket broke down on a moving pocket play, and then you got a big run. In terms of starting the ball game on offense, boy, you couldn't have really drawn it up too much better than you'd had it right there.
Yeah, no question. And again, just getting Ben off to a really good start. We didn't know how he was going to play. He had practiced well during camp. And then when we got into game week, I thought he kind of struggled at times. So we just didn't know. And for him to go 8 for 9 on that first drive, and then for us to come back and have another 16-play drive, even though we didn't score, we got a field goal. We played what our offense up to the standard of what we've been doing offensively around here for a while. I wish it would have been better the second half. But very, very pleased. And then, offensive line-wise, I thought we played really well.
Well, you know what else played really well? That would be your defense, and your defense made a big play on the next Minot State drive as Clem McCullough got his hand in the cookie jar with an interception.
2nd down and 9. Back to passes. Chrisman throws up, and it's going to be intercepted! Clem McCullough on the juggle makes the pick! He's got it at the 42-yard line!
Clem McCullough made an early interception. I believe that was in the Turnpike tussle last year in the season.
Yeah, I think Clem, in that play, the quarterback really made a bad throw. His Clem was too shallow, and the guy was actually behind him. Bad throw, but I'm looking at Coach Porto because he knows that. After I watched the film, after they talked about it, I mean, he made a good play. It's a bad throw. It was a gift. All right, we'll take gifts.
Hey, absolutely. And then obviously that turned into points with Maliko Atis on a 25-yard touchdown. That was the longest play from scrimmage of the game for Emporia State.
2nd down and 5 after the timeout by the Beavers. Snap to Harris. Harris looking to the end zone, and he is going to have his man. Is it hauled in? Yes, it is. Touchdown, Emporia State. Maliko Atis. An incredible first half. He's got 9 catches, and that one goes for 25, and he's got a touchdown.
Well, what a first half for Maliko Atis. Your depth was challenged a little bit with Trendon Collins going out in the middle of the game. No Ethan Schultz coming in, but 10 different Hornets catch passes for you in that first quarter. Boy, you said that you had more depth at wide receiver, and so far, early returns are, definitely, tons of depth at wide receiver.
We got a lot of depth, which has paid dividends because, again, and I go back to how pleased we were, how we played offensively. We had our top 2 receivers basically out, with Ethan Schultz did not start the game, and then we lose Trendon Collins in the first quarter. This guy was 76 catches last year. And
he would have been the number 1 on probably any other team, almost any other team in America that's not Central Missouri.
There's no question, and so it was really good to see Malik step up. We're going to have that group is going to have to grow up in a hurry. There will be some true freshmen that will be playing that hasn't played in a while, or that hasn't happened in a while at that position here at Emporia State. So there's going to be some youth, but I really like our depth. And I really like that group. I'm going to have to be a little patient with them.
Sure. Everybody has asked me. I've been asked a couple of times, how's Trendon? I'll let you answer if you want to answer now. If you don't want to answer now, we'll talk later in the week. That's fine. But I know that coming into the season, when you say they need to grow up, what does that look like for you in terms of wide receivers? Because I know you're on these guys about running the routes, getting lined up correctly, and running the route, not just running the route correctly, but then you got to run the route the correct amount of yards and do that part correctly too.
You've been at practice, haven't you?
A couple times.
Everything is so attention to detail with our passing game. It is very and I know my wife will laugh at this. I know she wishes that I was paid that much attention to keeping the house clean as I do on whether a receiver is 1 yard off his alignment.
Sure.
I will get on him. All right. So when I talk about them growing up, they also got to learn how to practice. All right. I mean, and I love Maliko Atis. He's a great player for us. I mean, he had 9 catches in the first half.
Yeah.
All right. So
he had a career high game in the first 30 minutes.
There's no question. And he can be that type of player. He can be even better when he learns how to practice consistently, all right? Like a Tyler Common, like a Mitch Foote, like a Justin Brown, those guys that have came before him. And he's getting there, and we're going to push him, all right? And I think he can be that next player. He just has to grow up in some areas. Great kid, loves to play the game, very competitive, which is what you want.
We've got more coming up on this game here. Our guests today will be the defensive coordinator, Mike Laporto. We haven't talked nearly enough yet about the job that the defense did. We did not give up points until the fourth quarter, so we've got to talk more about the defense. We've got a member of the wide receiving corps, incidentally enough, to kind of match our first segment focus, Kingsley Bennett, who caught the first score of the year for Emporia State. He'll be up next, and then, of course, we'll bring back Coach Higgins for the last segment here. So Coach Higgins will stick around. We'll talk more about this win against Minot State to put the Hornets to 1-0 on the season and another non-conference win for Emporia State. That's when we return. Live from 627 Event Space, this is Hornet Talk. You're listening to Emporia State football. Back here to 627 Event Space, getting set for Week 1, Game 2 of the year at Angelo State. We'll have the coverage for you, the number 13 Rams and the Hornets. Pregame coverage at 5 with the RV Doc pregame show, and the kickoff at 6 from LeGrand Stadium, San Angelo, Texas. We'll be on Mix 104.9. Listen online, KVOE.com/listen. We'll get into the Rams a lot more later on the show. One thing, we've talked about the wide receiving core, about how guys will need to grow up. 10 different receivers caught a pass in this game. I think it says something not just about the receiving core and the depth that I know that you said it's going to have to grow up pretty quick, but also about the quarterback. Ben Harris was not, locked in on number 1 or number 2 in the depth chart. He got a lot of guys involved in the game.
He did, and I think, Blake, you're going on your third year now and have been around what we do offensively, and if we are effective offensively, the ball will be spread out.
It's like you say, equal opportunity employer, right?
We are an equal opportunity employer, all right? So, like, all the receivers have an opportunity to catch the football.
As is required by law.
That's right.
And you're happy to give everybody, no matter what shape or size, a chance. In this game, you know, I said at the end of the game to Jeff and Bree Williams, they're the sponsor of the big play, 30 yards or more. I gave them the courtesy. We didn't have any, but that was kind of dictated by how Minot State was playing you as well. And it seemed like you guys really didn't try to force the ball down the field. You kind of took what Minot State wanted you to take. It certainly worked out for you.
Yeah, no question. I think the biggest pass play was the one chair route we scored on.
Yes,
was in the league,
yes.
25 yards. And that wasn't necessarily what we always go into a game with some shot plays. We did try a shot play, and they covered it, you know, and they were giving us everything underneath. So again, going back to Ben, he took what the defense gave him, which was really good to see.
Defensively, for you guys in the first half, and this is kind of an offense and defense question, but for you guys to outrush them in the first half with 11 fewer carries, you know, first of all, Diego Kearns, and you know, he did a great job in the first half. But can you talk about the defense in the first half and how really in the first half, I think the biggest play was 10 yards in the first half. It just seemed like they had no answers for what you guys were doing to them up front.
Yeah, and with a team that runs the flex bone, and I've always said that the play action pass is the best thing about running that offense. But if you're not running the football well, the play action pass isn't going to matter. And so that's why it was so important for us defensively to get off to a good start, and we did. And they, like I said, they played for 4 quarters. I thought really, really consistent. Did we miss a few tackles? Yes. Will we get better at that? Yes. But again, you know, and credit the defensive staff for the game plan that they put in to stop that offense, because we do not see that style of offense in the MIAA. We haven't seen that style since Missouri Southern back in 2017, maybe.
Sure.
But then on the flip side of that, I don't know if they've really seen an offense that plays with the type of tempo. I think you saw that where they were trying to get guys off the field, and we actually caught them a few times.
Oh, agreed.
Had some penalties.
The Landon Boss, boy, he was absolutely everywhere for you in that first half, especially. Certainly no trouble with him making the jump from JUCO to Division II football. 9 tackles to lead the way. But what did you see from number 6?
Well, I think at that, again, if you look at how our defense has been set up throughout the years, you know, going back to, you know, Jace McDown, you know, guys like that, they really kind of set the tone for us defensively at that position.
I'd say,
yeah. And I know he heard me back there. He's eating right now. He's proud of what I just said.
Sure.
Coach McDown. But Landon is going to be another Mike linebacker, and we've had a lot of great ones through the years, and I truly believe that he is going to be another one of those great players. He's so smart. He's going to get better. All right, smart guys get better throughout the course of the year. He's only had a spring with us. All right, and then a fall, and then he has to prepare for, you know, a flex bone offense. He did an outstanding job. I know he once won the quarterback draw. He got MVP, and then they did run a quarterback draw, which he did miss that tackle.
Sure.
That was the only – I know that was the one play he wish that he had back.
4-man defensive line for you, obviously predicated by a team that wants to run a lot. But, you know, you look at the tackles. Caden Fields, I think we thought was going to be pretty big for you. 7 solo tackles. He had 9. Dakota Doyle Robinson, before he went out with his injury, had 5. C.J. Adams with 4 solo stops. But, boy, I'm not sure everybody thought that Carlos Strong Jr. was going to be in there and in the mix. And, boy, he really kind of showed out for you. We'll ask Coach Laporte about him here in a little bit. But what did you see from him and that whole group?
Well, and Coach Laporte will be able to hit on the significant things. I mean, the thing with Carlos that we are so proud of is that, again, he has waited. He has been patient. He is a typical football player that if they are patient in our football program and maybe they don't play early, that they continue to get developed, and when they are ready and they're called upon to have a game like that. And it was really good to see with Carlos because he's spot played a little bit for us, but nothing in a really significant role. So it was really important for him to play that way because, again, it just makes our depth that much better on the defensive line, and you have to have depth in this conference, especially at that position.
We'll be back in just a moment. We'll start talking a little bit more about the defense with the defensive coordinator, Mike Laporto. That's coming up next here as we continue to get set for the Rams of Angelo State on Saturday down in San Angelo, Texas, flying down on Friday with a lot of logistics going into this. We'll talk with Coach Higgins again at the end of the show about some of that, but Coach Laporto talking defense is next. Live from 627 Event Space, this is Hornet Talk. You're listening to Emporia State Football. The Hornets week 1 matchup, game number 2, as they take on the Rams of Angelo State, a rematch of last year. Last year was the first ever meeting between the two teams. Of course, Angelo State dropped 2 games in Kansas against Fort Hays State and against the Hornets. Then they went on and ran the table in the Lone Star, made the NCAA playoffs, and lost in the first round, so did not win a game outside of the Lone Star Conference, but they came up and popped Fort Hays State. last week. So we'll see how this thing turns out this weekend. Coming up Saturday with the RV Doc pregame show at 6 and RV Doc pregame show at 5 and the kickoff at 6. We'll have it for you on Mix 104.9 now. We're now joined by Mike Laporto, defensive coordinator in his 16th year at Emporia State. Mike Laporto, ladies and gentlemen, joining us here on Hornet Talk. And we're having a great time to talk with you, Coach. You guys, especially in the first 45 minutes, and I know a couple plays that got away from you there in the second half, but and out of that 45 minutes, especially the first 35 minutes, you guys just kind of dominated them up front. It felt like, how did it feel to you watching your defense play the way that it did?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The guys bought into simple and bought into just playing consistent, good football, and that was the focus all week. Really leading up to that is when we play a triple option, it's about assignment sound, discipline, playing hard. One of the big things we always talk about, effort eliminates mistakes. And so, I believe our guys played with high effort, high energy, and there was a few times where they had us leveraged, and our guys were able to cover that up just with their effort and the amount of pace they played with.
What was the plan? Obviously, normally you're running your 3-high team, the Iowa State system, 3-3-5. They call it 3-high. But what was the plan going in against the flex mode? Obviously, you guys showed a lot of even man front, which would be 4 down linemen. Certainly, it worked out for you. But what did you see in the game prep and what was your plan going in against their very, very run-heavy offense?
Yeah, I think when you really looked at, we studied a lot of film over the summertime, and we had a lot of pros and cons, whether it's a 3-man front, 4-man front, and I think the game of football, it's not about what your identity is and being something set all the time. It's about what makes sense to what they do, and they did a really good job with the vertical run game. You're talking about their zone dive, their belly, their quarterback run stuff. There's a vertical actions. And we felt most comfortable and most confident to be able to slow those down. If you can't slow down their base, you have big problems kind of going forward. Now they can play to the edge, they can play vertically, and like Coach Higgins talks about, the play-action game becomes a problem. So we just felt like it made most sense to jump into a 4-down front. And, we've talked about, you guys mentioned earlier in the show, we had some guys really step up that had a bigger role than they've had in the past, and I was proud of them. They did a good job.
How natural is it to change for a team that typically runs 3 down to go to 4? Is that a difficult thing for you to scheme with the guys? Is that easy to pick up? How challenging was that to kind of through the first at least a couple of weeks of fall training camp, 3 down, but then when you switch over to planning for the Beavers, then you're doing more of a 4-down look?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's really difficult. I mean, there's some challenges there, some different actions. Where's your eyes at? How you react to different blocks, and there are some challenges in that sense. But we knew we were playing Minot going back to spring ball, so we actually we actually started messing with it in spring ball just to make sure we had a little baseline going into summer, and then we kind of had the plan set prior to fall camp, and we knew the first 10, 12 days of fall camp was going against our offense and running our base defense, knowing we were going to switch over to the Minot game plan there about 8, 9 days out. And our guys did a great job being able to kind of jump back and forth. And now I'm kind of happy that Flexbone's gone, and now we can move forward and get ready to go play Angelo and get back to our base.
Mike Laporto, defensive coordinator, 16th year at Emporia State, is joining me, and we're Landon Boss. I'm sure you guys. I'm not sure if he's one of the guys that you wanted straight out of high school. I'm guessing probably he was. I know you're happy to have him now, and he certainly showed why you guys wanted him. He was everything as advertised, and maybe even a little bit more, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, he's a really intelligent football player. I think the most impressive thing of the last 10 days working with Landon is not only is talented, he has all the physical ability, he has everything you see from the outside looking in, but you get him behind the walls, you get him in the classroom. The kid studies, he works, he prepares. I was just impressed with his leadership and just how he prepared for that game, and I'm excited to see that go forward. And it shows on the Saturdays or Thursdays, as last Thursday, but his ability to make plays does come from his talent, but he maximizes that because he prepares the right way.
And certainly quite an athletic family for sure. They're glad that they have their bosses at Osage City without a doubt. I know another guy that you are so excited about is Caden Fields, who's getting a lot more run this year as a starter on the one line at the depth chart. 7 solo tackles for him. Landon Boss had 8. What did you see out of Fields and what Caden has done to get himself ready for this opportunity?
Yeah, Caden's it's an awesome story. He sat right next to behind Rafe Goucher, who's here for 4 and 5 years, and Rylan Miller, who was here. And he learned from some really, really high intelligent football players in the defensive line room. Caden has a little different drive. Caden has a little off behind him, as I like to call it. He's an edge guy, but he loves the game of football. Ask Coach Kitzman, he does not like the weight room. He works out, and he does what he's supposed to do. He loves football. And so to see him come out and see that, progression show up year in and year out, this is year 4 for him, and to really have the opportunity to show up in a big way was awesome to see.
Like I mentioned with Coach when we had him on, Carlos Strong was not a guy that I necessarily, he made my defensive board in the back, but I didn't know exactly how much. I don't think he was on the 2 deep. I'm thinking he might be on the 2 deep now. 9 tackles, 6 solo stops. Were you surprised? I mean, sometimes these guys come out and you think, you know what, if he gets a shot, he might be able to do this. What did you see in regards relative to your expectations with Carlos Strong Jr.? Because he certainly was a big reason that you guys plugged up so many rushing lanes against the Beavers.
Yeah, no, Carlos is another kind of same story as Caden. He comes from, Oklahoma, been here out of high school, and really had to kind of earn his way. He played defensive end, gained weight, put on size, and turned into an inside guy for us, and has the flexibility to go inside and out. And, he was a big part of this playing game, this game plan. Him playing well really kind of determined the success of our overall product, and I'm very, very pleased with them. And to say that I expected him to play at that level, I'd probably be lying to you. I thought he was going to play well. He was prepared and he was ready. But I think he exceeded my expectations, really, and that only excites me. It excites our defense. It excites our opportunity to continue to grow as a defense. He gives us another dimension that we don't have. He's put the weight on. He's strong. He got really good feet. Some of the things I can't teach.
Sure. Well, and you now kind of have, I'm guessing it's a little bit of a good problem because you go from having 4 down linemen, not that you can't go back to that if the situation arises or the need arises or a certain play arises, but you go to 3. It's a little bit difficult when you're running 8 guys in over 2 platoons, and now you're down to 6. That's going to make that spot a little bit more competitive, maybe even than it was. And certainly, based on the depth that you have there, there's going to be some big position battles out there moving forward.
Yeah, that was the one thing I felt like we really needed to do this offseason was develop more depth on the entire defense. We had good football players, but we didn't have enough of them, in my opinion, as far as to be able to win and sustain the MIAA. And so that was a big push this offseason was find depth, recruit depth, get more guys, be multiple on our fronts, be multiple on our defense. And part of that is being able to jump into a 4-man front. And that's something that I think you'll continue to see from us. We should be able to do both. We have a very talented linebacker core. Very excited about that. I think our D-line group is a really talented group. We are young guys had to grow up, and they're starting to. And our DBs were talented there too. We got a lot of guys that have experience and has made a lot of plays for us. So being multiple is absolutely necessary to be successful, in my opinion.
One word, and I'm going to talk with you more about it after practice on Tuesday or Wednesday. One word on the Angelo State Ram offense, kind of a unique offense, at least what they showed last week in week 1. Now, who knows what it'll be against you guys, but they ran the ball far more often than they passed the football. So they were big on establishing the run, but they still outpassed their running game, the 366 yards to the Rams 268. Now, what do you expect to see out of them in terms of what they're going to try to hit you with on their offense?
Yeah, they're good. They're balanced. The quarterback has a good arm. He makes the throws. He played against us last year. Hadn't quite established himself when we played him, but as the year went, you really saw him solidify his role and solidify his ability. And, you know, he led them to a really good season, and he's coming back. He has more confidence. You can just see it on film. You know, he's a better leader. He's leading that group. He's kind of the front man of that offense. And so, you know, they run him. They're going to give, you know, not a lot of different looks of him in the run game. They're going to be able to run the ball. They like pullers. They run a couple different schemes in the run game. And so, it's going to be challenging. They got a couple receivers that can flat run. So that's another challenge we got to go fight. But you know, I'm excited. You know, I think, you know, the one thing I love about our group defensively is they're hungry. You know, that's something I can't teach. Hey, some guys just want it.
Sure.
Right now, I think we got a bunch of guys that do.
We'll see the Hornets in action on Saturday. They've got the number 13 Angelo State Rams after an impressive win over Fort Hays State. Pregame coverage with the RV Doc pregame show at 5, the kickoff at 6, right here on Mix 104.9. And the Hornet defense will be tested for sure against a Ram team that kind of had their way with Fort Hays State. We'll see if the Hornets can pull it off once again after a very, very impressive Week 0 performance against Minot State. Mike Laporto, defensive coordinator for ESU. Thanks so much, Coach. We'll talk to you here this week in practice. Thank you. Mike Laporto, ladies and gentlemen, and coming up next, one of the guys I'm sure that is testing the defense with his speed in practice is wide receiver Kingsley Bennett, and he'll be joining us next. He opened up the Hornet offense with the first touchdown of the year for ESU. He's up after this. Live from 627 Event Space, this is Hornet Talk. You're listening to Emporia State Football.
Catch the spirit and gear up.
Hornets getting set for their longest road trip of the year to Angelo State to take on the Rams of ASU. Pregame coverage at 5 and the kickoff at 6 on Saturday here on Mix 104.9, the voice of the Hornets. And, of course, you can listen online, kvre.com/listen. We are now joined by senior wide receiver Kingsley Bennett here on Hornet Talk, who had the opening touchdown of the year for Emporia State. They call him KB. Kingsley Bennett, everybody, joining us here on the show. Kingsley, congratulations on your day. How good does that feel? Certainly, I mean, you want to be in the end zone. I know we're planning to have you in the end zone more than just that one, but it's got to feel good to just get down the opening drive and get the first one out of the way, right?
Oh, for sure. Just all the work we put in this offseason, just showing that it all paid off. And just hard work pays off. It was a great feeling. I was able to celebrate my teammates, and we came out and set the tone and set the tempo.
For you guys, just to see the drive and how that moved down the field, and you guys moved down so efficiently. I mean, it was almost an elegant drive, and the way you guys did it. Your ball only hit the ground once, and that was really, because Ben needed to throw it away. How good did that just feel for the group of 11 to put that drive together like you did?
It goes back to practice, the preparation that we put in, all that work we put in, listening to our coaches, taking the coaching. I feel like that was the biggest part of it. Just getting that big start was really good for the team, giving us that momentum, giving us that tempo, coming out and punching the team in the mouth and doing what we need to do to put points on the board. It just set the tempo for the team and gave us momentum.
You guys talk a lot about tempo. We're talking with Kingsley Bennett, senior wide receiver for this Emporia State offense. Tempo is something that you guys can judge. There's a clock out there, obviously. I kind of pay attention to see, okay, when are they snapping the football? Not that there are times in the game where you want to take your time and be a little bit more deliberate as an offense, but it seemed like compared to last year, maybe even at the end of the year, it seemed like in this first game and those 2 long drives you had, there were a lot of snaps between 30 and 35 seconds. How did it feel to you in terms of the pace that you were able to generate?
I feel like we played with great pace, especially that first drive. We came out. We know a lot of teams, it's really hard to prepare for what we do offensively. So just coming in, pushing that tempo, finding the line judges, running the ball into the spot, the man that spots the ball, things like that. The little details that Coach Higg preaches every day, we was able to do that and push the tempo, and it just gave us the advantage of our opponent.
No Ethan Schultz, and Trevin Collins goes down early, but you guys said, you and Malik both said, hey, we know we lost Tyler Common, probably the best receiver ever play here, but we might be better as a unit. Well, you guys proved it, and Ben Harris got a lot of you involved with 10 different Hornets catching passes in that game. How did you guys feel as a wide receiver room about your effort collectively?
I feel like we played great. We had a lot of energy. Coach Davis preached, we have to come out, we have to set the tone. We're a big part of this offense. I just appreciate Ben for trusting us, putting the ball in my hands. Like you said, 10 different people touched the ball. We were all able to eat and all able to produce for the team. So I just felt like that was really big, and I'm really proud of the room, and we gave 100% effort.
You've had 3 different quarterbacks. I probably ought to say 4 because, I ought to throw in a guy who, throws for 1,000 yards in 3 games like Chase Rickey did. I ought to throw him in there as well. But what's it been like getting to know and getting on the same page with Ben and watching his development?
It's great. He wants to learn. It's a great to have a relationship with him, and it's easy to be able to want him to be on the field with us as well. He really came in and bought into the process. And every day he's out there, pushing us and leading us as well. So it was really easy to, be like, okay, yeah, that's our QB1. And really put that trust in him to deliver the ball to us. And we just have to be able to be in the right spot for him and, get to where we need to be for him.
Now, some of you know Kingsley Bennett, not just a football player, but also a guy that can get out there on the track. What's the football shape versus track shape look for you in terms of how you try to have your body, the composition of your body? Because obviously, in track you can be as lean as you want, but sometimes it doesn't hurt to have a couple extra pounds on the football field.
No, for sure. It helps me tremendously. I feel like I'm in shape year round and I can run whenever. Like you said, just being able to balance that football weight and that track weight is really big for me. Just being able to shave off, get a little slimmer during the track season, then getting ready to bulk up for the football season to be able to produce for my team. I feel like that's really big, but it helps in both sports. I feel like just physically and mentally being able to know that you're in shape and you're prepared for the moment and whatever we have to get done.
Now, you guys have had some really big road wins each of the last couple of seasons, going top 5 on the road in conference. You had as I recall, a fairly massive catch at Northwest to end the streak. What has been kind of the mentality for you guys that's allowed you to play so well on the road in these big road games that you've had?
I feel like we prepare for the moment. We're built for the moment. I feel like when we go on the road and it's a challenge, we always accept it. We always have a great week of preparation, and we know that we can go out and beat any team on any given day. We trust in our abilities. We trust in Ben to deliver us the ball, and we know if we go out there and give 100%, that the outcome it will go our way and we'll be able to get the W.
I know that this is a little bit different week of practice because you practiced on Monday, which is not normal, but with the Labor Day holiday, you guys can get an extra practice today. So I'm not sure where you guys are in terms of putting in the Angelo State game plan, but from what you've seen so far, give us a couple lines on Angelo State, what you guys have seen on the Rams so far.
It's a good defense. They're definitely better than mine, but I'm confident in our group. I feel like we have a lot of playmakers. As long as we take our coaching and do what we need to do, we're going to get the job done. I feel like we could be the best receiver group in the country if we just, trust the process, practice hard, listen to Coach Davis, listen to Coach Higgins and what they're telling us to do, and I feel like we'll be fine.
Kingsley Bennett, 5 catches, 68 yards, and a touchdown in the Week 0 season opener for Emporia State. His Hornet offense will try to duplicate that success and add in a couple of extra points as the Hornets take on the number 13 Rams of Angelo State on Saturday. Pregame coverage at 5 with the RV Doc pregame show, and the kickoff at 6. We'll have it for you on Mix 104.9. Best of luck to you and the Hornets, Kingsley.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Kingsley Bennett, ladies and gentlemen, here on Hornet Talk, getting set for the road trip down to Texas. When we come back, we'll bring back on head coach Garrett Higgins and talk some of the logistics. Obviously, planes not normally used in the MIAA, at least not yet. So we'll talk with him about that and also get set for the Rams. Live from 627 Event Space, this is Hornet Talk. You're listening to Emporia State Football.
Heading to the game or celebrate?
here with head coach Darren Higgins as we get set for the road trip down to Texas. And the Angelo State Rams are waiting for the Hornets and looking for a little revenge. They got some against Fort Hays State after they went 0-2 on their Kansas road trip last year. Pre-game coverage will begin at 5, and the kickoff is set for 6 o'clock. We'll have it for you on Mix 104.9. Back here with head coach Darren Higgins. And Coach, just first a quick word on Kingsley Bennett, another guy that has kind of waited for his turn and now going to be asked to do maybe even a little bit more, but what a great start to the season for him in week 0.
Great start for Kingsley. Team captain, been here, wasn't redshirted, came in to play tailback, moved him to receiver, and then we had some injuries at tailback, so we moved him back to tailback. He's been nothing but a team player here. And it's really good to see guys like that, he's always had a role for us, even when he was a true freshman. Now, his role has gotten bigger each year, just like, right now it's even going to be bigger now that Trendon is injured.
Sure.
So really good to see. He's so versatile because not only did he do a great job of catching the football, but he's also can do a great job of running the football. So he can do different ways, or you can get the ball to him in different ways, and because he's also a track guy, very fast, runs on the 4x100-meter relay team, so got a lot of speed and quickness, and can be a really a difference maker for us at times.
Another guy who's made a big difference for your program is Coach Mike Laporto, a defensive coordinator, been here for over a decade and a half with you here. What's the relationship been with you and Coach Laporto?
It's been, anytime, me and Mike have been together forever, all right? And he was a player when I first got the job here. So he has earned his way here. And the one thing about him is I could take off and go on a golf vacation for a week, and he knows how to run the football program.
Sure.
And I trust him to do that. And I know there's times where I'm over there on the defensive side of the football, and just like I annoy some of the offensive coaches, I know that I annoy him too. But at the end of the day, when we close our office doors and we get in the car to go home at night, I believe we're all on the same page, and that's just a credit to him. He's been here through everything, been a part of getting this football program where the expectation is very high, to where he's been a part of that, and he's been a reason for that. So I appreciate him dearly.
Let's go back one more time here to the Minot State game. One stat that I haven't mentioned here, but I would like to mention: tackles for loss. Your defense had 8. Their defense had 1. Says something about you guys winning the line of scrimmage, and also about your offense limiting negative plays. I know you want to clean up the penalties, but overall, just talk about what you guys did in making big plays on defense. And then, for the most part, once you got the ball snapped, very few mistakes for you guys on offense.
Yeah, I think if you just look at the two teams, we're so different. Where we threw the ball 52 times.
Yes, 52. They threw it 5 times.
Right.
They completed 2 passes, 1 to you guys.
Right. So you would think that we would have more negative plays just based off the type of offense that we run. And it really shows you how dominant and how consistent our defense was for that entire game, for them to have as many negative plays as they had. And then on the flip side of that, just our guys doing a really good job up front on the offensive line.
For you guys now going to Angelo State, but what an undertaking this is. I actually went in and got my equipment weighed on one of the scales you use for the guys to get on Tripp's spreadsheet. 41,000 pounds of equipment and bags going down to Angelo State. And I know that there's some wiggle room in there if you need to get to 32,000.
I lied about my weight. Now I'm really nervous.
Well, he asked me about true weight, is what Tripp said to me. Can you just talk about the undertaking? That's exactly what he said, is true weight. Talk about this undertaking to make this a road trip like this happen to get on a plane that's chartered and get you guys down to Texas?
Well, I can't say enough about Trip Shannon and the job that he has done. And I know he's sitting back there, but he's done a great job with organizing this whole thing. And he always says he is supposed to block for us, and he has definitely done that. He has put everything together, and he's a numbers guy, so he's going to be, if it's 31,000 pounds, sure it's 31,000 pounds. All right, so and I hope that plane can handle that. I mean, I want a confident pilot, and I don't want propellers. I want that thing to sound like a jet engine. And I've been told it's a jet. Okay,
I don't know what the make of model is, but I have confidence that it'll get us there.
Right, I'm the same way. I don't like to fly. I mean, I've done it a lot, not a lot, but like, but he has handled all the logistics of it. All I've done is just drive him nuts on certain things. That's all I've done. He's done a great job with it, and our entire staff appreciates what he does on a daily basis.
Road mindset. You guys have had top 5 road wins each of the last 2 seasons. What is the road mindset that you guys feel like you have that gives you an edge on the road? Because certainly in each of the last 2 years, you've used it to your advantage, whatever that Hornet edge is.
Well, I think going back to the last 2 years, we've had a veteran ball club. We've had guys that have made road trips, played very tough, difficult games in the MIAA. This is by far a different team. All right, they're players that have never made a road trip. I mean, 55 new faces in fall camp. All right, now, there's not 55 new guys traveling to this game, but there's a lot of new faces that guys don't understand how we travel. And we're very detail-oriented when we do travel. We're creatures of habit. This is going to be a different because we're getting on a bus to go to the airport, and then we got to get on a plane. Just like I told the players, we're not going on vacation. All right, we're not going to Disney World.
It's a business trip.
This is a business trip, okay? So, I think that, so I don't know.
It also feels a little bit different than, because you guys went down to the bowl game, and that was a nice trip down to Texas to win the bowl game, the Heritage Bowl. And, in that game, you do let the guys have a little bit of fun, but this is regular season. It's a lot different than that, isn't it?
No question. And, I mean, in this team that we're playing, I mean, they to me, that win that they had last week, 28-7. I thought Fort Hays was playing the best in the MIAA last year at the end of the year. I thought they were by far. They have a returning starter at quarterback. I thought he made a difference in them when he started playing last year. For Angelo to beat them 28-7 at Hays, all right, and then they have a veteran ball club. They've had this game circled. Believe me, I know they have had this game circled. There's a lot of talk about the MIAA and being the best conference in Division II. We took it on the chin around the league this past weekend, and I think that's just a lot of people are in the same boat we are, where we lost a lot of veterans. So we're going down there with a young team. We better be ready to play. They are going to test us. To me, if they were in the MIAA, they would be picked to win the MIAA. They are that good. They have a Harlan Hill candidate at quarterback. Last year when we played them, they played 2 quarterbacks. They couldn't make up their mind, and I think that affected them. Then when they went to this Fuller kid, he has made a difference in their offense.
And this is a team that knows how to win. We got about a minute left, Coach, but they didn't win a game outside of the Lone Star, but they came up here, took their licks against you guys at Fort Hays.
They started out 0-2, went to the playoffs. Ran the table, went to the playoffs. They're a playoff caliber team. They're picked to win the Lone Star Conference. They should be ranked in the top 10. This is going to be a big test. I'm excited about this trip. I'm excited making this trip with this team.
Coach, appreciate it. We'll see you on the plane.
You bet.
Garen Higgins, ladies and gentlemen, head coach for Emporia State. Once again, the Hornets getting set to travel down to Texas. They have got the Angelo State Rams coming up on Saturday. And our pregame coverage will begin with the RV Doc pregame show at 5 o'clock. Kickoff at 6, Mix 104.9. You can listen online, kvoe.com/listen. Thank you to our guests, Coach Higgins, Coach Laporto, and Kingsley Bennett. I'm Blake Cripps. We will see you on Saturday from the Grand Stadium in San Angelo, Texas.